everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking to you about sleep regression in babies and what you can do to kind of get them back on track and all that, and what to avoid doing, etc. I have my notes. I just wrote some down on a piece of paper just so I can stay on track, so that's why I will be looking down. But just to start, the first question that people ask often is, when does sleep regression occur? It occurs through all through childhood. It can happen to like a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, but it mostly occurs between, I would say, like 8 months and a year and a half. And that's basically when, you know, the baby's still kind of adjusting, still new to routines and all that. They're still growing, just things like that. So those are like the most common times it would occur, 8 months to 1.5 years. I want to talk to you guys in this video about this topic because my baby, he is 11 months and a few days and has been going through sleep regression for the past 3 weeks, and it's been brutal. And I just want to share with you guys these tips because these are what I have done for both of my children and they've worked great. The next question people might ask is, why do babies regress, like in terms of sleep? So there's a bunch of reasons, but it could be their teething. My kid's been teething since he was 4 months, and it's been bad, it's been rough. It could be a milestone, so maybe they just learned to sit up, learned to roll over, learned to walk, learned to crawl, and they wake up and they want to practice it, you know, in the middle of the night. So that's another reason why. It could be separation anxiety, they just miss you. They could have had a bad dream, or they could just be testing your limits. So they could just be saying like, okay, I'm gonna see if she really wants me to go sleep through the night, type of thing. And they might just test the limits, test the boundaries, and just see how you react. So what do you do about sleep regression? So the first thing that you want to do, if your baby's teething, say, what I'd suggest doing is, if your baby has, you worked so hard, you've gotten your baby to sleep through the night, and then all of a sudden now they're waking up again, and it's so frustrating on parents when you finally get that sleep, that one, you know, a couple nights stretch of sleep, and all of a sudden your kid's waking up again. You're like, oh, are we back to this? So if it's something as simple as teething, you could give your baby like a pain relief for the teething. There's so many remedies out there. I'm not going to suggest any, but there are a lot. Just because I haven't really used any on my kids, so I can't suggest any of them, but there are a lot out there. You can just do your own research and find something if your baby really has a hard time with teething. So just give them some pain relief, and hopefully that will stop them from waking up. If they still wake up, then there's a couple things you want to do. So for one, you don't want to reward the protest. So if they're just, you know, testing out the water, saying, does she really mean it for me to go sleep through the night, type of thing, you don't want to go in there and be talking to them or rocking them back to sleep or giving them food, because that's just like you're rewarding it. So they're saying, if I protest long enough, mom will give up and come in to me. And you're gonna just start back on the whole sleep training thing again. You're gonna have to start from square one and just start sleep training again. If you start going back in when they just start sleep regressing. So if you've had them sleeping through the night, you know that it's possible that they can do it, that they can make it through the night without food and without you rocking them and all that, then that's a good thing, and you know that they can do it, which means if they do wake up and all that, you just leave them. So this kind of leads into the next point about what you can do about it. You can let them just cry it out. So if your baby does wake up for many of the reasons that I stated, you know, teething, separation anxiety, or whatever, just let them cry it out. They will understand and get the hint that mom means business. This is time for me to sleep, and they'll go back to bed. Honestly, my son, sometimes it would take him 2 hours straight of whining or crying, and he wouldn't give up, and eventually he just got tired and went back to bed. A few nights of that happening, of me just not giving in, and he just gave up and goes to bed. So you just really got to stick with it. But I'm telling you, if you do cave and do go in, even if you're like, I'm so tired and I can't sleep when my kid's crying, and you just give up and go and give them a bottle to kind of like shut them up, that will become a thing, and they'll start saying, okay, so she's gonna give me a bottle if I protest, or she's gonna rock me to sleep if I protest, or give me a pacifier, or whatever it might be, and they will just keep crying again. And then you're gonna, like I said, be back at square one. So just resist the urge. Do not reward protest. Let them cry it out. Another thing you could actually try is a noise machine. If they are just waking up from external noises, or if they have a hard time just staying asleep, if you put a noise machine on, like some kind of white noise or spa sounds or something, that could be very soothing to them, and it could also help soothe them back to sleep. So that is a good recommendation. I use it for both my kids, and they love it. So now obviously there's other times where your kids might wake up and you're thinking, okay, he's not teething. He never had separation anxiety. He doesn't get bad, he's too young to have bad dreams, etc, etc. There's no new milestones, so it can't be any of these things. And you're thinking, maybe what if he's going through a growth spurt and is just truly hungry, or what if it's this or that? And you start kind of second guessing yourself, which I've done multiple times. Like I'll be lying in bed and my kid will wake up and I'll be like, oh, what if he actually is really hungry and I'm starving him? Like that's how I'm thinking. And that's if that's what you're thinking, and you have gone into his room or her room and given them the bottle or nursed them or whatever you do, and you're kind of back to where you were in the beginning, what you can do about it is a couple things. So yeah, basically if you've given into your baby's protest, there's a few things that you can do. So if you're back to night feedings, basically, because your baby's sleep regressed and you kind of went in there, and it's not that it's bad that you went in or anything, but if there was like no reason why you think that they're awake except that they're hungry, so you want to feed them, that's okay. But if you're back to night feedings, this is what you will do. So because your baby has already been sleeping through the night, you know that they can do it and that they have like the knowledge and you know all that, they're equipped to sleep through the night. You basically do your sleep training routine that you were doing, whether it was slowly giving them less and less in the bottle every time, whether it was letting them cry it out, like whatever it was, you start doing that all over again, like you're retraining them to sleep on their own. But this time you move up the pace a little bit quicker. So because they know how to sleep through the night already and they already know what they have to do, kind of, you don't have to go as slow as you did the first time around to get them to finally sleep through the night. You can just speed up the process, if that makes sense. So there's a million methods out there to get your kids to sleep through the night. I don't know which one you chose. So any one that you chose, just take that method that you were using if it worked for you and do it again, but just faster pace this time. So yeah, that's basically it for sleep regression. The biggest reasons why babies do regress though is because of teething or separation anxiety or a new milestone, or they're just testing limits, things like that. So there really is, even though you're lying in bed and you're like, what if my child is like really hungry or something, that's probably not the case. If they've been sleeping through the night for several weeks and they're okay, they do not need to eat. And once your baby is around 8 months old, they do not need to have a feeding in the middle of the night anymore. Like their body can, whatever you give them right before bed, their body can, that will sustain them through the night until the morning. Their body can handle it. So don't let it psych you out and don't think you're starving your baby, because they can handle it, and it'll just lead you back to feeding, night feedings and all that again, and you don't want that. But sleep regression does occur, and don't think it's gonna just happen in it's not like a one-time thing where they regress and then you fix it and that's it. They will probably regress again, and every milestone that they hit, they will regress, or every time they get a new tooth, they might regress. You just gotta stick with it, and once you have a plan, you just don't change it. So our plan in our house was I would let my kids cry it out if they wanted a bottle or whatever, and then eventually just got the idea. So that's what we did. And now if my son does wake up and if he ever does regress, as annoying as it is, I just stay in my bed and I don't go in the room, I don't open the door, I don't talk to him, I don't do anything. I just let him cry, and you hear him. He starts winding down on his own and he falls asleep on his own. So those are my tips for you. They've worked wonders with both my kids. So I hope this gave you enough information on sleep regression and enough tips on what to do. And yeah, if, like I said, if your baby has regressed, you kind of gave into his protests, it's okay. Just redo your sleep training that you've done in the beginning, but pick it up a pace. So yeah, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if so, please give a big thumbs up, subscribe down below if you're new to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.